it's one of those games that you never really quit. It's like the saying goes amongst the community is that you always take breaks, you never quit. And I guess that's true for me as well. I did take a long break after they made like the EOC update way back when, the evolution of combat. I think it divided the community a whole bunch. And after they released Old School Runescape, one of my friends, he convinced me to hop onto Old School with him. And I remember that was such a fun time, because like we were both just playing together all the time. I remember even like during school, like during like one of the computer classes, we would just be playing RuneScape all the time. That was a lot of fun. I did play plenty of RuneScape 3 a little bit later down the line as well, but I could never really get into it. Like a lot of people would blame the evolution of combat, but I feel like that's really not the problem. Like that was a lot of fun as well, especially because you can optimize everything, and it's really not that different. But what bothered me with RuneScape 3 was a lot of the economy for one. It's like, if you take 1 million coins in Old School RuneScape, that would be like 10 million in RuneScape 3, and it would just be a grind to make money constantly, and everything was so expensive, and it was a real struggle to get into that, as well as like you had a lot of quests to do to get to like the end game stuff. Like I remember Soul Split, which is one of the prayers in RuneScape 3, is like a vital part of PvMing, and it required such a huge quest list to go through, and without Quest Helper or anything like that, it was just, I did not enjoy doing that so much. I talked about it recently with another friend of mine, and he was adamant that there was a Quest Helper plugin for RuneScape 3 back in the day. I'm not sure. I've never heard of it. Maybe that's on me, but yeah. So later on, I also just returned to Old School again, because it's, for me personally, a lot more fun. Although I have heard that they are going to be removing all the microtransactions and everything in RuneScape 3. So if that happens, I might jump back on it, but I'm not quite sure. Maybe someday. Now RuneScape is one of these games that, like, for the past year has kind of helped me in a positive sense, I'd say. Like, the past couple of years have been a bit difficult, and in RuneScape, like, it's really fun to set goals for yourself, and it will give you, like, once you complete these goals, it will give like this sense of achievement or fulfillment, which is a lot of fun. Like, I've been grinding out multiple skills all the way to 99. Like, I have woodcutting 99, and fishing, and cooking, fletching, fire making. Recently I got farming to 99, and all of that's been like really fun. Although woodcutting and fishing arguably they were kind of a bitch to get to 99. Like, it took such a long time, but after that, like, you definitely look back on it and it's like, yeah, I did that. As well as in general, like, quest helper, it just makes it so much easier to get through everything, and like, it unlocks so much new content. For example, like the Ridge's side quest I did finally a while back, and I set a goal for myself to beat Solra, which is, I think you can say, like one of the more difficult bosses there is in RuneScape. There's a lot of mechanics that go into it, and like rotations, and a lot of prayer switching, and I remember once I got to that point where I could do Zulrah, I remember for 2 days straight, I kept trying, and I kept dying, and but eventually I got it, and that felt so good, because it's like, yeah, I'm like making progress, I'm getting better, and it's a lot of fun. The same thing recently, right before Sailing came out, I saw that Song of the Elves quest was also a requirement for some of the content that would be unlocked with Sailing, so I grinded that one out. That quest took a very long time, but the Song of the Elves also unlocks a bunch of new content, like the Prifdinus area, with the Gauntlet, and Zalcano, and a bunch of other stuff. So I'm looking forward to like getting into that. I think the Gauntlet is also one of those difficult things to get into, and I feel like if I can get to that point where I can do that comfortably, like, I feel like I can do anything in RuneScape, you know? So, that's one of these things where it's just like, you set goals for yourself, and you achieve those goals, and then it gives that sense of fulfillment and accomplishment, and it's a lot of fun. And through doing all of that, it's also one of the reasons why I made this YouTube channel. Like, I have been thinking about making YouTube videos like for as long as I've been playing RuneScape. There's been a time where I did a lot of videos in like the RSMP community, which is like RuneScape music videos. It's kind of cringe, a little bit, but it was a lot of fun, and I remember that sense of community that we had during this specific period. I think it was like between 2016 and probably like 2020, where there was like a small group of people left that made these videos, including me, and we would just talk a bunch together, and we would always help each other out with clips and editing tips and everything, and it was a lot of fun. So I really miss that, and I really want to get like that's kind of the goal that I set for like myself with making this channel, is like I would love to just, of course, help people out and help them relax or help them fall asleep or whatnot, and just build like this tiny little community. And I feel like the ASMR community is like perfect for that, because it's like a really wholesome and sweet and kind community that really cares about each other. So I think it would be really cool and really nice if one day we can build that. And we'll see, I guess, how that goes. Everything in due time. I'm really not in a rush to grow anything too big, or I don't really care about it. I think as long as everything is fun, and that's what matters. RuneScape has a ton of lore. I just wrote down a little cheat sheet of things that I want to talk about, so like if you see me looking over to the left, then that's, yeah, RuneScape has a ton of lore, like both like in-game, there's a bunch of lore with different gods, and it has created this whole world of Gillinor that is quite interesting. this glitch that happened with a new skill at the time, construction, where people who were fighting in an instance in someone's house got kicked out of the house, but the PvP stayed enabled. So they went around afterwards within these safe zones, just killing a bunch of people and getting all the stuff. And there was a lot of chaos involved at the time, where people were telling everyone to bank their valuables and to be careful. And there was like one guy in particular, I believe his name was Duriel, who has become very infamous for this, as he was walking around in harems and a whip and with a party hat, just killing people, which should be impossible within these safe zones. There's a bunch of clips of it online. There's a bunch of people who have made entire video essays about the history of this and everything that happened that day. And it's like one of these pieces of lore that is so big and is internalized in the game with like statues and little bits of text, and it's so cool. And there's also like the whole thing with like Venezuelans joining the game, which is on one part kind of sad and on the other is kind of cool, I think. It's like the idea that a couple years ago, like the economy in Venezuela crashed, and people in Venezuela started playing Runescape to make money, because Runescape Gold, like, it's a real thing that's like real world trading. Like, you can sell your Runescape Gold for real money, which is illegal, I should add. But there's a bunch of people who are doing this, and if you get caught or you get banned, or it just make a new account and then you start all over again, there's a bunch of people doing this. But there was this thing where just droves of Venezuelans just came onto RuneScape to do this, because RuneScape Gold was worth more than the actual currency in their country. And there's just things like that just like I said, on one hand it's kind of sad, but it's also kind of cool. Like, I wouldn't mind playing RuneScape as my job, if that would make me more money than an actual job, you know. Now, also, a running gag within the community was always sailing, which started out as like an April Fool's joke, I'm pretty sure. I think from what I've read up now, it's like back in 2014, on April Fool's Day, Jackix made a post that they were going to introduce a new skill, sailing, and everybody lost their minds over this shit. For a couple of years, this really became like a running gag within the community. It's like everybody kind of wanted sailing as a joke. And then in 2015, Jackix actually pulled it. So like the way updates in RuneScape work is like Jackix comes up with these ideas of things that they want to introduce into the game, and they put it into a poll in game, and the players can vote. They can vote on whether or not they want these updates, which I think is a very good and very nice democratic way of like making the game as good as possible. Like, way back when Evolution of Combat happened, like, it divided the community and a lot of people left the game and quit, and then there was a lot of hate for Jackix for doing that without consulting the community, like pretty much bringing out an update that no one wanted. So since then they've been polling everything, and then 2015 they allowed sailing to do polls, and people hated it. It did not pass the polls. However, it stayed like a running joke, where people were just like, okay, it was when's sailing coming out? Like, when's sailing coming out? Now, last year, or the year before, I'm not quite sure, they did poll it again. And now it did get passed. Suddenly people had kind of changed their minds. I think people, like back in 2015, like it was all fresh off of like the Evolution of Combat update and old school Runescape getting started. I think the community was very adamant on keeping the game as pure and old school as possible without too many crazy new updates. But now 10 years later, like, people definitely wanted something new, and I think with recent years and recent updates, people were seeing how much good updates were coming out, and people were probably getting a lot more faith in the idea of sailing being an actual skill and it actually being good and it working out and everything. So now, 10 years later, in 2025, sailing is actually out. They actually made it a thing. I have to say, when I first saw this, I was also a bit skeptical because I thought, like, what can you do with sailing in RuneScape? Like, it didn't seem at all to, like, really fit in with the game, you know? I thought it would just be like a glorified minigame where you can just, instead of running around and teleporting around the world, you can just sail around it, you know? Or at least that's what I thought. But now that I've actually seen it and I've actually played it, it's actually a lot more fun than I initially expected. I think sailing ties in so well with the rest of the game. Like, of course there's new quests, for one. And I've actually, like, in the background, you'll probably see me doing one of these quests, which is called Troubled Tortugans. And it was actually kind of a fun quest. And I actually really like that they added, like, a new race of people into RuneScape. These Tortugans, which is kind of like a turtle species people. And they're so cute. Like, all the interactions with them in this quest are kind of cute, and they seem to really care for each other. And there's, like, this division within their communities, like the juvenile Tortugans and the elders. They all stay together on this island to create conch, and like the adults, the people that are kind of in between age, they are out and about the world, but they really care for each other, and they're really cool. And in this quest, you help one of them out. You help Flupa out, who has been attacked. You help her heal up, and then as you help her get back home, you help them repair the village. And they get attacked by these griffins, and then you help them kill them, and yada yada yada. But I really like these dialogues in RuneScape, because there's always a lot of, like, tongue-in-cheek, a lot of jokes, a lot of humor, and it's fun. So obviously you got like a couple of new quests. The first one, where you start out sailing, you kind of join, like, this little crew that teaches you kind of like the basics of sailing, going around on a boat and whatnot. And eventually they once you find, like, a little treasure, they rob you and they throw you out, and they leave you to die, pretty much. I think in early 2026 they will make a new quest elaborating on that, going deeper into that. So I'm kind of excited to see where that goes as well. And besides the quests, just doing little courier tasks where you go from one port to another, delivering crates and whatnot. I actually kind of enjoyed that at first. It kind of reminded me a little bit of like Sea of Thieves, where you have similar stuff to do. As well as like a long time ago, I played like a little bit of Euro Truck Simulator, which was also fun. It's just going from A to B, delivering stuff. Now, I have to say that the first 30 levels were kind of a struggle. The XP rates were terribly slow. So slow, in fact, that the next day after the update launched, they implemented a cold fix to buff the XP rates a little bit, which they did. Still, it's like a little bit slow, but I realize now, getting later on into the skill, that it's not that big of a deal, really. The skill progression in terms of experience in this is very much linear. Like, it starts off very slow, but gradually, as you level up, the XP rates go up like a lot. So like once you get to like 72, I think you can get up to 200k experience an hour, which is a lot. Like most skills, like the maximum amount of experience you get for an hour is like, usually, generally, without like tick manipulation and crazy shit, it's usually like about maximum like 100k. So people manage to get 99 sailing within 5 days, which is crazy. It's just absolutely insane. So really, it's not that big of a deal that the XP rates are slow at the first. Like, they really do speed up. After doing some of the courier tasks, I also did some bounty tasks. It's just like, it's kind of like the same as a courier task, but it's just like you get tasks to go out at sea and kill like a certain amount of monsters and bring back like their jaws or their feathers or some item to show the port master that you killed them. Immediately, like, the XP on that, the rewards for that were a lot better, so I started doing that. At first I started off like using my blowpipe on these creatures from my boat, and it kind of worked, but it was very slow, and it wasn't really effective. So it really incentivizes you to upgrade your ship and get cannons. And these cannons are a lot more accurate and they hit better, even though a bronze cannon seems so much more inferior to a toxic blowpipe. But like, who am I to complain? Like, it's part of the content, so I guess it makes sense that you use cannons. And that was fun too. Did a bunch of those tasks. And for a while, I also like in between downtime and whatnot, I would make adamant cannonballs. Like, adamant cannonballs at first were worth quite a bit of money. They would be like 1k per cannonball or something like that. So I would buy thousands of adamant bars and smith them into cannonballs. And at first that would be like 1k profit per bar, or like, no, I think it was actually 2k profit per bar. And so it's just nice to do something AFK like that and makes a little bit of money on the side. That's always the thing with like new content, new updates, new items, is that there's always new ways to make money in the game. I'd say that making cannonballs is a good thing to do while you're at work. Allegedly, not saying I did that, but like, maybe. Maybe. Now once I hit like level 45, I think it was 45, I realized that I could do Barracuda trials. so much better. Although you do have to kind of get used to it, like traversing these trials. You have to pick up like little speed boosts. You have to avoid little things that like deal damage and kill all your speed. You have to avoid all the rocks and everything. And with this first trial, like the whole thing is kind of like you pick up a bunch of supply crates that are out at sea. You make a little circle around it and pick up some rum, and then you deliver it. And at the highest difficulty, like you do this like three times to make it completely go around and get it like as much supplies as possible. This was kind of fun. Kind of fun to get into. It was challenging at first, actually, but I did enjoy it for a little bit. It did give off a little bit of the vibe of like agility. Like it's very click intensive. So it's definitely not for everyone. It's definitely not like a thing that I could do like constantly, like grind out in like a couple of days. Like that's way too click intensive for me. I also kind of got to the second trial called the Jubbly Jive. It's kind of the same thing. You pick up supplies around this in this circle, and in the meantime, instead of picking up rum, you lure these jumpy birds, or I think they're called jubblies or chompies. I'm not quite sure, but you pretty much like you go around picking up supplies, and then you lure the chompies over these big poles back to the finish. The trial master probably wants to cook them and eat them or something. I don't know. This one was a lot more difficult. It took some trial and error to find out how it works. Like, I've been trying to do these things without looking up any guides and just figuring it out on my own, which is it's a little bit more challenging, but it's also fun. And I can't wait till I get to level 72, where I can do the last one, the last trial. And like I said, this one can get you like anywhere between like 150k experience an hour up to like 200k. So I am actually considering going for like 99 in sailing as well, one day. But also with that, everything in due time. I also did enjoy. I also did enjoy like doing some of the shipwreck salvaging. It's like I said, I really do enjoy like doing like AFK stuff. I am someone who consumes a lot of content on YouTube, so it's just nice to watch a video and just do some AFK stuff. So that's what I did with the shipwreck salvaging. I've done a lot of that the past few days, and I've gotten to level 67 by now, I think. Yeah, 67. And through this salvaging, I have gotten like multiple coral frags. And I looked it up, and you can farm these coral frags for coral. Like these are new ingredients for different like potions. Amongst other things, I think they are made for super fishing potions and super hunter potions, which boost your fishing / hunter level for like 6 levels. So you can fish or hunt things that are above your level, pretty much. If that's like what people want. But I saw that some of these coral pieces are selling for a lot of money. So when I saw this, I had not yet done the Troubled Tortugan's quest, which is required to farm these corals. So I quickly knocked out that quest last night. The quest itself, like I said before, was a lot of fun. I'm now farming these corals, and I am excited to see how much money I can make with that. I have not seen a whole lot of people talk about this or doing this, so I hope that I can be quick with this see. It's also one of these things that is somewhat AFK. So, like, can you tell yet that I like AFK stuff in RuneScape? Yeah. But, generally speaking, I love the direction they're taking with RuneScape. Both RuneScape 3, like I said, if they remove the microtransactions and everything, I might actually jump on that as well. But also, like, old school RuneScape, in the past 2 years, like, they made, like, the Varlamore update. They added a bunch of new content. Just sailing, just everything. There's been so much new content, and it's all been, like, really good and really interesting. And really fun. And I would love to see them continue in this direction, because it feels like I'm playing RuneScape for the first time again. It feels like I am 10 years old again and just playing this and figuring things out, learning new things, trying out new things. It's been a blast. It's really been a blast, and I would love to also see them like make new skills. Like, not too regularly, but like, let's see how the community thinks about sailing in a year or two, maybe. And maybe after that, it would be a good time to implement some new skills, something new. I think that would be really cool. And just more content in general. Like, at the start of 2026, they have planned to release some more sailing stuff, new quests and everything, so I'm looking forward to that. I think this video has been a little bit different than what I thought I would be making at first, but I have been enjoying the process of